Coming up this week ahead, it's State Fair week, and that means the flow of traffic will be condensed to the east. Does anything change? Plus, I'm backlogged on mailbag questions. I'm going to dive into that and answer all of your inquiries. That's what's happening this week ahead. As a homegrown Minotian, this time is bittersweet. It's State Fair week. On one hand, the fair is back in town for the first time in 2 years, and it takes quite an event to bring the North Dakota State Fair down to its knees. Only twice. A historic flood and a global pandemic. They're the only things that have been able to do that. It's great to have it back. It's great for our community. It's good for our economy, and it's good for our quality of life. On the other hand, traffic becomes a little bit more congested in several spots of town. It's a fine trade-off. But this week ahead, I want to ask everyone to take extra precaution on the roads. East Burdick near the fairgrounds has been reduced to 25 miles per hour zone. There is like 100 times more pedestrian traffic and many new motorists driving within our community. Take your time, stay safe, and enjoy the return of the North Dakota State Fair. Our city, of course, would not be the same without it. Okay, we're light on construction and traffic impacts this week. Things kind of slow down a little bit during the State Fair week, and it's kind of by design. So I thought this would be a great time to answer some of the questions that you sent to me through social media or through our mailbag. Of course, if you have anything you want to know, just ask us. Go to minetnd.org/mailbag. I'll try to answer those as promptly and as best as humanly possible. Our very first question. This one actually comes from Facebook. It's from Bruce Hoffert. Why at the intersection of South Broadway and 31st Avenue doesn't the city pour concrete and be done with the lane issues rather than doing a mill and overlay project every couple of years? Okay, well, this is a good question, and it is, of course, a fair question. Here's the thing. We'll be doing that. Now, some of you may remember earlier this year, we presented a few ideas that came from a very large Broadway corridor study. We looked at all of Broadway from south to north. You may remember an idea of a 2-lane roundabout being thrown out there. This intersection, of course, is a part of that study, and that means we will be constructing something very similar. Concrete intersection at that exact intersection and many other spots. But that's not for another 5 to 7 years. So we're waiting instead of having to do that twice. Right now, we're going to have to maintain that until we can get that intersection programmed with state and federal dollars attached to it. It's better bang for our buck. We have some decisions to make until then and some designing to do. So that work is coming, Bruce. Maybe, just maybe, if you play your cards right, you'll be able to get a 2-lane roundabout there. How about that, huh? I hope that helps, and thanks for asking that question, Bruce. I appreciate that. Okay, next comes from the actual mailbag. This was submitted to me through email. Comes from Robert Peterson. When will the lights be turned on again on the new section of flood wall between North Broadway and 3rd Street Northeast? These were there after the wall was finished, and they look so nice. Well, first off, yeah, I totally agree. You're correct. Those lights on those flood walls are fantastic. But they've been dark for a little bit. Here's why. Technically, the walls are done, but the project isn't completely finished. So while the project is still kind of underway, the contractor and engineers are still the owners of that project until they turn it over to us after they finish all the punch list items. They likely don't want to absorb the cost of the electricity or even reduce the life of the lighting there, which in my opinion is understandable. But we will take over when we finally cross the T's, dot the I's, make sure everything is in tip-top shape, and that project will be done. Expect that to happen this fall. And that's when you can expect those lights that line the flood walls to be shining very nicely. Okay, thanks for the question, Robert. Final question for us this week ahead. I'm pulling this one off of Facebook as well. It's in regards to the relocation of City Hall, which has had an open house on this. So we got this question from Sean Renee. Do we need one? What's wrong with the one that we have? Okay, another fair question, a good question. And here's the thing. First, nothing is wrong with the current building that we have City Hall in, but it's not big enough. And neither is the police department, which shares the same footprint as City Hall. But there's more to that. I think it's best to let one of our decision makers actually explain this one. That's Mayor Sean Sitman. As he puts it, it's about safety, security, and economic vitality.
The fundamentals, if you take a look at the current City Hall, we have long been out of space, and that is space for every aspect of every department that is located in City Hall. When we identified the National Disaster Resiliency Grant, the biggest aspect was revitalization of our downtown and the economic vitality of that area. One of the key elements of that has been proven time and time again across the country is being able to put a lot of employees downtown, and in this case, being able to move City Hall downtown is vital to meet one of those components of that. Now, safety and security is another one. City Hall sits very close to two Class 1 railroads and the floodplain. Now, being able to get central dispatch out of the floodplain and to also get City Hall employees downtown away from that is absolutely an asset and a safety and security issue. So you throw all of those different individual items combined together, and it makes a lot of sense. On top of that, we have a lot of resources out at Public Works in a different building, not even located in our current City Hall. Being able to bring all of those is a one-stop shop, and let's be honest, a lot more, I think, equity to the community, being able to have all of that in one location.
Okay, so if you're not aware, the new location for City Hall is the old Wells Fargo building downtown. Project's got a lot to go. We're still doing some conceptual design things. Look for that project to start to materialize in about 12 to 18 months. Okay, if you have any questions like this or something that you think I haven't answered, let us know. Of course, head to minetnd.org/mailbag. We'll do our very best to get you what you need. Now, coming up this week ahead, the roads are opening up for the state fair. Traffic control is completely off of East Burdick, but we do have some pockets of work still going on throughout the city. One example is by our current City Hall and by our library with flood control work. That is continuing, but we are really in sort of an intermission right now. And spoiler alert, next week we are going to outline what could be deemed Act 3 of construction for 2021. Our road projects for the Magic City, they'll be going like gangbusters. Starting in August 2nd, we'll have chip seal all over town, mill and overlay on Burdick, concrete work on 31st. It all starts in August. We'll tell you about that next week. It is all designed to happen after the North Dakota State Fair. I'll outline all of that work in a week from now, but for now, enjoy the mostly wide open roads. For the rest of the lane and road closures, you can use our map. Go to minetnd.org/road closures. If you're interested in seeing what other projects we have going on, we have a map for that as well. That's minetnd.org/projects. It'll show you everything that's going on this year and give you a few more details. You can help educate yourself on all of that. Okay. That's going to do it for me on This Week Ahead. Thanks for joining me. I want to remind you once again, if you don't get our newsletters, please subscribe. That's one of the best ways to stay in tune with what's happening in your city. You can go to minetnd.org/the latest. Pretty frequent. I mean, this one goes to everyone that signs up, plus our twice monthly. The latest actually goes out from that as well. Make sure you get all of that. You can sign up for alerts as well by going to minetnd.org/alerts. That's if anything important happens, water rations, or any more breaking, pressing things. Follow us on social media, of course. You're probably already doing that if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, but you can find us at City of Minot just about everywhere. Thanks for joining me. And of course, have yourself a great This Week Ahead. Enjoy the State Fair.